Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Lebohang here. I'm back again with another video. It's been a while. I've been MIA for a while, but I'm back. I'm back. Um, Today I'm going to talk about a very sensitive topic. I don't think a lot of people, even they have went through this road, they are proud of it. But um, God has just convicted me to come here and share my story, right? So I'm going to talk about my abortion story, right? um I've talked about how before I've talked about the spirits, how I have found out that there were spirits that are molesting me, influencing me, like monitoring me. Right, I've talked about that, and I've talked about how God actually made sure that I am aware of what is going on, right? And being aware of that, made me realize a lot of things that we ignore as people. We think that we know better, but we are clueless, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and start with the video. So I was doing my first year, right? um so after graduated, after matric, I went to university, right, to study further. So I when I got there, right, we know the pressure of peer pressure, friends, wanting to fit in. You just want to talk about what your friends are talking about, share a little bit of knowledge in whatever. But when I got there, I had not dated anyone ever, right? So I have dated, but I have not really like had a serious relationship. And I didn't know much about relationship, right? I didn't have anything to add, and I didn't have a boyfriend. So but then I felt the peer pressure, and I decided I'm going to start another a relationship with a certain guy who was pursuing me for a while. So this guy was pursuing me for a good amount of time, right? And for some reason, I felt I was not ready to be in a relationship. But now, I think I'm a big girl. I'm in university now. I should start dating. So I dated him. So we dated. I think after maybe 8 months of dating, right? 8 months of dating, I fell pregnant, right? I fell pregnant, and um I fell pregnant and I was devastated. I was in school, and I knew that my family wasn't well off. I got a TEFSA, if you know TEFSA, and a NFH and NEFSAS, yes, a loan to study. And if I drop out, I'm going to lose that. I'm gonna just ruin my future. It was just a devastation, and the quick solution to this was to have an abortion, right? So my life can go back to normal, so that I can have an opportunity to a brighter life, right? And I went on and I had an abortion, right? um and at the time, I remember saying to myself, I'm not going to tell anybody. This is just going to be a secret between me and God, and I don't have to go through this ever again. And and it was water down the drain, and I forgot about it, and I continued with a relationship with this guy, right? So we continue on dating, and we dated. I think I fell, not even long after that, maybe 6 months later, I fell pregnant again, right? And I remember very well. I remember very well the same devastation. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this again. And the disappointment on myself, not even on my parents or anybody, right? But that was as well in addition, right? But more it was disappointing myself, more disappointing. I thought like not having education, it's like, I'm going to suffer for the rest of my life. I'm not going to have a better a a better future. I just saw that as a dead end, right? And again, I went to the quick solution, which is just abort the baby and move on with your life. And true, I did that. I aborted the baby, and then I continued with life. By this time, things with this guy were not going well. We broke up, right? We broke up, and then I was in a relationship. Then I think after a few months later, and then I met another guy, right? I remember I prayed for this guy, right? I prayed for him, and he shows up, right? And I think your God has heard my prayer, and we date, right? And we dated. This guy was very nice. We date, and we were having fun. um I think I was doing maybe my last year, right? So I fell pregnant again. I fell pregnant again, and this time I remember the anxiety that I couldn't even sleep for 5 days, even though it was my last year. I had so much anxiety, and I remember I even told the guy, like, because he was, he had a good job, and everything was well on his side. But I told him, right, and after telling him, I remember him saying this, that is it my baby? He didn't even say my baby. Is it mine? That's what he said. Is it mine? That hit me to the core, right? So I stood there and I thought, this guy doesn't want a baby, right? He doesn't even want this thing, right? And I'm even more stressed now that, and at this time, I remember very well a prophecy. So I was around 15 or 16, right? And I went to a certain church, and at the church they told me, my aunt was going there, so they told me that I'm going to have a boyfriend, and they're going to leave me. They're going to give me babies and leave me. And they also said I'm going to be sick, right? If I knew, then I would have cast that prophecy out, if I knew. But okay, so at that moment, after that guy did that, like, after he rejects me, I think of that prophecy. Immediately after I thought of that, I'm like, I am not having this baby. I had another abortion. So time went on, and I I continued the relationship. And something that I should have known, this guy, even though I told him that I was pregnant, right? He didn't call me for, like, I think about 3 weeks, right? And then after the week that I had an abortion, he comes back. And as he comes back, he doesn't even tell me about the pregnancy. He doesn't even ask me what is going on. So what are we gonna do? He doesn't even ask me, right? So and I didn't even, even say anything as well. So we continued the relationship like nothing happened. For some reason, and now I remember that this guy knew that I had an abortion. So that's one thing that God reminded me of. For this guys, they dated me basically just to make sure that I sacrifice my babies for witchcraft, right? So, but hence he never even asked me anything, and we never even talked about it. We continued a relationship for I think another 2 years or a year and a half before we broke up, and no one ever said anything to each other about it, right? And he never asked any questions. I never even mentioned it. So yeah, that was it. Then we continued dating, and I remember when I started working, right? So when I started working, I thought, my life will be just normal again. My life, is coming together, thank God. And I think even just the first month of me starting the job, I got pregnant, right? And because when you start, they say that you must you must not be pregnant or something, or they ask you, are you pregnant, right? So at the time I remember that what, I'm not yet permanent, right? I'm not yet permanent, so I can't. What if I lose my job? Yeah, things we do for jobs. So I just thought to myself, I'm going to abort. And then I made plans. To get money. And then I had another abortion, right? And things obviously didn't go well with this guy, and we broke up, right? We broke up, and I continued with my life, especially, after once you had started, you are working, you know, you move on with your life, and hoping for the best. And I moved on with my life. I continued my life as normal, and yeah, I think after again, right, I met another guy. This guy I was not even interested at this time. I had been heartbroken too much that I didn't even want to be in a relationship, right? So I wasn't really attracted to this guy, but I was just going out with him, and I told him that I'm not interested in you like that, but we were just just enjoying each other's company, right? And I don't know how that happened. We ended up being in a relationship, and the relationship went on, and we were and we dated, right? I think I'm not sure about the time frame, but I fall pregnant again, and again excuses came in my mind. Excuses, and I had another abortion. Excuses, same excuses. And one thing that was consistent was the anxiety, the sleepless nights. I'm unable to think about anything. I'm unable to even do anything. Sometimes I couldn't even eat for days. So it was just so stressful, right? But now I understand why anyway. So yeah, then after that, right, I remember even with this guy when I fell pregnant, I don't know how it happened. I was on prevention pills. I was on prevention pills, right? But it happened anyway. And yeah, and then from there I decided I'm going to I didn't have any other abortions. So every time when I was in a relationship, I was extra careful. Even I used a, you know, I was extra careful, right? I've been through a lot. So, all this I just wanna say to someone, like, we just make decisions, out of a permanent decisions on temporary solutions, right? And I was not aware of the consequences that would come, right? As I had these abortions, I didn't know that I was opening doors for demons to haunt my life, right? I was opening doors for spirit to molest me and do what they want with my life, right? So this is a problem that we are not we are not aware of. We know that it's wrong, but we think once we ask for forgiveness, God forgives us, and we don't have to actually suffer the consequences. But the consequences are there, and it will hit you. It will hit you. It will hit you. A time will come, and you will remember, right? And but I'm just thankful that God is faithful, and he has taught me a lot. And no one has taught me is things like especially spiritual things than God himself. Like, there is no church that I went to, or any pastor that prayed for me or anything, but God was just there and ready, because he knew my heart, right? And he knew that I did a lot of things that were wrong, out of maybe because some things we are never taught that they are wrong. We come into a society like having a boyfriend is normal, you know. So, I wish I knew what I know now back then. I wouldn't even had a boyfriend, right? I would just date for marriage, just wait for marriage. It was the simplest solution. But anyway, I don't want to even blame anybody. The decisions, even though some of my decisions were influenced by spirits, but it was me who made the final decision. I had control over the the outcome, right? Yeah. So I went through some type of deliverance, right? And a certain type of deliverance, and as this lady is just speaking to us, and we are supposed to dedicate our children. It hits me, and I was crying, and it hits me. I was crying nonstop. That our babies, they are sacrificed in evil altars. That as these things, they take your baby blood and put it on a certain altar. Sorry about that. Put it on a certain altar, right? And you just write a letter to your baby, and you tell them that how much you love them, and you rededicate your babies to Jesus. That was the most emotional thing that I've ever went through. But anyway, thank you everyone. I just hope this helps somebody. It helps somebody out there, like go through your pain, and let's heal. I love everyone. See you later.